Welcome back to Lexopedia. Today we're diving into the heart of the Philippines during the 16th century. Picture this: a time before Spanish influence, a time of diverse cultures and independent island kingdoms. Now imagine a single expedition that would forever change the course of this archipelago's destiny. How did Spain, a kingdom thousands of miles away, manage to establish a colonial stronghold that would last for centuries? The answer lies in the story of one man, Miguel López de Legazpi.
Indeed, it was a time of great change and challenge. My journey was not just about conquest, but also about diplomacy and understanding the rich cultures of the islands.
Before we delve into Legazpi's expedition, let's understand the historical context. It's the 16th century. The age of exploration is in full swing, and European powers are racing to establish trade routes and colonies in the east. Spain, having already established a foothold in the Americas, sets its sights on the Spice Islands. Reaching the Spice Islands meant navigating treacherous waters and facing fierce competition from the Portuguese.
Magellan's earlier voyage confirmed the existence of a westward route to these coveted islands. It was a risky endeavor, but the potential rewards were too great to ignore.
Enter King Philip II of Spain, a monarch driven by ambition and a thirst for wealth and power. He saw in Legazpi, a seasoned conquistador with a reputation for fairness and diplomacy, the ideal leader for this crucial mission. Legazpi's task was twofold: claim the Philippines for the Spanish crown and secure a lucrative trade route to the Spice Islands. Little did he know, his expedition would shape the cultural and political landscape of the Philippines for centuries. Join us in the next part as we set sail with Legazpi and his crew, witnessing firsthand the challenges they faced and the triumphs they achieved. For centuries, the East had captivated the Western imagination. Tales of distant lands brimming with spices, silks, and unimaginable riches ignited a thirst for exploration and trade. These stories painted a picture of a world steeped in mystery and allure. The East, with its promise of untold wealth and exotic wonders, became a siren song for ambitious monarchs and intrepid explorers alike.
Among the most sought-after treasures were spices, not just for their culinary uses, but for their perceived medicinal properties and their ability to preserve food. Cloves, nutmeg, cinnamon, and pepper. These were the commodities that fueled empires and financed expeditions. Control of the spice trade meant control of a lucrative market that spanned continents.
The journey to the east, however, was fraught with peril. Sailors braved treacherous seas, battling storms and navigating uncharted waters. The journey around the southern tip of Africa, a route pioneered by the Portuguese, was long and arduous. The quest for a westward passage to the Indies fueled further exploration and intensified the rivalry between European powers. But the allure of the East Indies, with its promise of riches beyond imagination, proved too strong to resist. It was against this backdrop of exploration, ambition, and the insatiable human desire for wealth and adventure that Spain turned its attention to the vast Pacific Ocean and the archipelago that would become known as the Philippines. However, Spain's ambitions in the east faced a significant obstacle: Portugal. Having established a strong presence in the Indian Ocean, the Portuguese were determined to protect their monopoly on the spice trade. The rivalry between these two Iberian powers spilled over into the race for control of the East Indies. It was a clash of empires, a struggle for dominance that would play out on the high seas and across distant lands. In this high-stakes game of colonial chess, the Philippines became a pawn in a much larger geopolitical struggle. And it was Miguel López de Legazpi, a man of unwavering loyalty and proven leadership, who would be tasked with securing this valuable prize for the Spanish crown. The Spanish crown, under King Philip II, saw in the East a chance to expand its empire, tap into the lucrative spice trade, and spread Christianity. Converting new populations to the Catholic faith became a driving force behind Spanish colonialism. By the 16th century, Spain had emerged as a major player on the world stage. The unification of Castile and Leon under Ferdinand and Isabella, followed by the conquest of Granada, solidified Spain's position as a powerful force in Europe. Flush with wealth from the Americas, Spain's ambitions extended far beyond the Atlantic. No discussion of Spanish involvement in the Philippines would be complete without acknowledging the legacy of Ferdinand Magellan. His daring expedition, launched in 1519, marked the first successful circumnavigation of the globe and the first European contact with the islands that would later bear the name of King Philip II.
Magellan's arrival in the Philippines, however, was not peaceful. While he initially established friendly relations with some local rulers, his attempts to convert them to Christianity and his involvement in local conflicts led to his demise.
Magellan's death in battle against the chieftain Lapu-Lapu on the island of Mactan in 1521 served as a stark reminder of the challenges that awaited Europeans in this unfamiliar territory.
Despite its tragic end, Magellan's expedition had far-reaching consequences. It confirmed the existence of a westward route to the Indies, fueling Spain's desire to establish a presence in the region.
The first-hand accounts brought back by the surviving members of Magellan's crew further piqued Spain's interest in the Philippines.
Magellan's journey, though ultimately cut short, laid the groundwork for future Spanish expeditions. It provided valuable navigational information and established a precedent for contact with the indigenous populations.
It was upon the foundation laid by Magellan that Miguel López de Legazpi would build his own legacy. The year is 1564. News of Magellan's fateful voyage still resonated within the Spanish court. King Philip II commissioned a new expedition to the Philippines.
Leading this endeavor was Miguel López de Legazpi. Legazpi oversaw the meticulous preparation of the fleet.
Shipwrights in the bustling port of Navidad, Mexico, labored tirelessly. 5 ships formed the backbone of the expedition.
Manning these ships was a diverse crew. Priests joined the expedition to spread the Catholic faith.
Among Legazpi's lieutenants was his grandson, Guido de Lavazares. Lavazares kept a detailed journal of the expedition.
As the final supplies were loaded, anticipation mingled with trepidation. The fate of the Philippines rested on this voyage.
With the blessings of the king, Legazpi and his crew set sail from Navidad on November 21, 1564. The long voyage across the Pacific tested their endurance and resilience. Fierce storms tossed the ships about like toys. The men battled seasickness and fatigue, supplies dwindled, and the specter of scurvy loomed large. Yet amidst the hardships, there were moments of beauty and wonder. At night, the stars guided their course. They relied on rudimentary navigational tools to chart their course. The men found solace in camaraderie, sharing stories and songs.
After months at sea, the lookout's cry of "Land ho!" echoed across the deck, igniting a surge of excitement. They had reached the island of Guam, part of the Marianas archipelago.
The islanders greeted the Spaniards with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension.
Legazpi ordered his men to approach cautiously, offering gifts as a gesture of goodwill. He understood the importance of establishing peaceful relations.
While the encounter in Guam provided respite, challenges awaited further west. Reaching the Philippines, they encountered a complex tapestry of independent island kingdoms.
The islands presented a fragmented political landscape that Legazpi would have to navigate with skill and diplomacy.
The specter of Magellan's ill-fated encounter with Lapu-Lapu loomed large in the minds of the Spanish. Determined to avenge their fallen countrymen, Legazpi and his men sailed for Mactan.
Lapu-Lapu, a skilled warrior, refused to bend the knee to these foreign invaders. The Battle of Mactan, fought on April 27, 1565, was brutal and costly.
Spanish soldiers clashed with indigenous warriors armed with spears and bows, the air filled with the sounds of clashing steel and the cries of the wounded.
Despite their weaponry, the Spanish were at a disadvantage against Lapu-Lapu's forces. The tide turned against the Spanish, forcing them to retreat, leaving behind their dead.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more historical content. The defeat at Mactan, a stinging blow to Spanish pride, forced Legazpi to reassess his strategy. He realized that brute force alone would not be enough to subdue this archipelago. A more nuanced approach, one that combined military might with diplomacy and strategic alliances, would be necessary to achieve his goals.
Shifting his focus from the defiant island of Mactan, Legazpi set his sights on Cebu, a bustling trading hub further south. Arriving in April 1565, Legazpi encountered a more receptive audience. The Raja of Cebu, Tupas, wary of the Spaniards' firepower, but also seeing an opportunity to forge a beneficial alliance, agreed to negotiations.
Legazpi, a skilled negotiator, understood the importance of respecting local customs and traditions. He presented Tupas with lavish gifts, promised protection from rival chieftains, and, crucially, pledged to allow the continued practice of the indigenous people's religion, a concession that would later be rescinded as Spanish efforts to convert the population intensified.
With Tupas's cooperation, Legazpi established the first permanent Spanish settlement in the Philippines, christening it the City of the Most Holy Name of Jesus, later shortened to Cebu. A fort was constructed, its cannons aimed outwards as a deterrent to potential enemies, and a church, a symbol of Spain's religious ambitions, rose alongside it.
The founding of Cebu marked a pivotal moment in Philippine history, the beginning of Spain's enduring colonial presence in the archipelago.
Recognizing the fragmented nature of the archipelago, I understood that securing a lasting foothold would require more than just establishing a single settlement. I embarked on a campaign of diplomacy and alliance building, traveling from island to island, meeting with local rulers, and forging agreements that served both Spanish interests and the ambitions of those willing to cooperate.
Legazpi quickly grasped the complex web of rivalries and alliances that existed among the different island kingdoms. Some rulers, eager to gain an advantage over their neighbors, readily aligned themselves with the Spanish, seeing in them a powerful ally. Others, wary of these foreign newcomers, remained resistant, choosing to maintain their independence, even if it meant facing the might of the Spanish military.
I was not above using force when diplomacy failed. I dispatched expeditions to quell resistance, my soldiers armed with muskets and cannons, proving formidable adversaries against warriors armed with traditional weapons.
Yet, Legazpi also understood the importance of consolidating his gains, establishing Spanish garrisons in strategic locations, and appointing Spanish administrators to govern the newly acquired territories. Through a combination of diplomacy, military strength, and strategic alliances, Legazpi gradually extended Spanish control over the archipelago. He forged alliances with rulers in Luzon, Panay, and other key islands, laying the foundation for what would become the Spanish East Indies, a vast and lucrative colony that would enrich the Spanish crown for centuries. While Legazpi achieved remarkable success in establishing Spanish rule, his efforts did not go unchallenged. The seeds of resistance began to sprout. They recognized the true nature of Spanish intentions. Early revolts, fueled by resentment toward Spanish demands for tribute, flared up across the archipelago. In some cases, resistance took the form of open rebellion. One notable uprising occurred in 1572, led by Raja Suleiman, the ruler of Manila. He launched a fierce but ultimately unsuccessful attempt to drive the Spanish out. With the foundations of Spanish rule firmly established, Miguel López de Legazpi faced immense challenges. The vast archipelago and diverse population posed logistical nightmares. Monsoons disrupted trade and isolated communities. Portuguese rivals and Chinese pirates threatened the colony. Legazpi strengthened fortifications and forged alliances. His efforts laid the groundwork for Spain's enduring presence in the Philippines. Consolidating power structures of Spanish administration.
Legazpi established a system of administration modeled after Spain's American colonies.
He divided the Philippines into provinces, each headed by an alcalde mayor.
Legazpi encouraged the establishment of missions and the conversion of the indigenous population.
Friars established churches, schools, and hospitals.
Their efforts legitimized Spanish rule and integrated the Philippines into the Spanish Empire.
Legazpi promoted trade with Mexico and other Spanish colonies.
Galleons laden with treasures began their journey across the Pacific.
This trade, known as the Manila Galleon trade, connected the colony to the Spanish Empire. A legacy forged Legazpi's enduring impact.
Miguel López de Legazpi, his health failing after years of tireless service to the crown, died in Manila on August 20, 1572. He had lived to see his vision of a Spanish Philippines take root, a testament to his leadership, diplomacy, and unwavering determination.
His legacy, however, is a complex one.
He is remembered as the founder of Manila, the city that would become the bustling heart of the Spanish East Indies and the architect of Spanish rule in the Philippines, a rule that would endure for over 3 centuries. He is credited with bringing peace and stability to a fragmented archipelago, establishing trade networks that enriched the colony and laying the groundwork for the spread of Christianity.
Yet Legazpi's achievements were also accompanied by the displacement and subjugation of the indigenous population. The introduction of new diseases, forced labor, and the imposition of foreign customs and beliefs had a profound impact on Filipino society, leaving an indelible mark on the nation's cultural and historical landscape.
Legazpi's legacy, like the history of the Philippines itself, is a tapestry woven from threads of both progress and exploitation of cultural exchange and forced assimilation.
Section 1. The Dawn of a New Era.
As the sun set on my life, it rose on a new era for the Philippines. The archipelago, once a tapestry of independent island kingdoms, found itself bound to a distant empire.
The seeds of Spanish colonial rule, sown by Legazpi and his men, had taken root. The establishment of Manila as the colony's capital marked a shift in the archipelago's economic and political landscape, connecting the Philippines to the wider Spanish Empire and beyond.
Chinese junks, laden with silks and porcelain, docked alongside Spanish galleons carrying silver from the Americas, creating a vibrant melting pot of cultures and commerce.
The arrival of Spanish friars, their mission to spread the Catholic faith, ushered in a new era of religious fervor, their bells calling the faithful to prayer.
The conversion of the Filipino people to Christianity would have a profound and lasting impact on the nation's spiritual and cultural identity.
The Spanish colonial period witnessed the emergence of a unique Filipino culture, a blend of indigenous traditions and Spanish influences. From the cuisine savored at family gatherings to the music that filled the air, the Philippines began to forge a new identity. A complex tapestry legacy of Spanish rule.
The legacy of Spanish rule in the Philippines is a complex tapestry woven from threads of both progress and oppression. The Spanish brought advancements in education, infrastructure, and governance, establishing universities, building roads and bridges, and introducing new agricultural techniques.
However, these achievements came at a cost. The Spanish colonial system exploited and marginalized many Filipinos.
The suppression of indigenous beliefs and practices contributed to cultural dispossession. The destruction of ancient temples and artifacts, the imposition of Spanish names and customs, and the suppression of traditional languages eroded Filipino cultural heritage.
Yet the Filipino spirit endured. Resistance to Spanish rule erupted in numerous uprisings and revolts.
Acts of defiance led by local chieftains testified to the indomitable Filipino spirit. The story of Miguel López de Legazpi and the establishment of Spanish rule in the Philippines is not just a chapter in a history book. It is a story that continues to resonate in the present day.
Understanding this complex history is essential for Filipinos seeking to understand their place in the world.
As the Philippines moves forward, it does so with a newfound appreciation for its own rich and diverse history.
The Philippines of today stands as a testament to the resilience and adaptability of its people. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Lexopedia for more fascinating journeys through history. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.